Hello everyone, it's the Mangoose, and today we are doing our monthly manga review, November edition. Now if you guys are new to the channel, this is where I discuss all of the mangas that I've read this month, and I also want to know, have you read any of these mangas? If so, what are your thoughts on them? And also, what have you been reading this month? I'd love to know that as well, so feel free to leave any of those thoughts down below in the comments. Now me personally, I read some absolutely incredible titles this month, and I'm so excited to share them with you guys, but before I do that, in my last video, I asked you guys if you wanted to see a rightstuf haul or if you wanted to see me go to a local bookshop, and the results were pretty mixed, but I gotta let you guys know that we are doing a rightstuf haul just because I actually went down to the local bookstore to check it out, and they literally had like 5 manga titles. Like the manga right here is more than the store had combined. It was kind of unfortunate because the bookstore was super cute, it was really nice and cozy, but they just didn't really have enough manga to make it a haul. But with that being said, I'm still so excited to show you guys my rightstuf haul. The video will be out in about 2 weeks, so mark your calendars. It's gonna be our biggest haul yet. I ordered a ton of manga, at least for me, so I'm excited. I can finally read more than 1 manga a week. I'm super stoked. I also got a couple good pickups just driving around, and I will definitely look for some other stores to go to so it's not so repetitive with like rightstuf and Barnes & Noble hauls every single time. And without further ado, let's jump into these mangas that I read this month. So once again, I will do my best to not spoil any of these mangas because I know how bad it sucks when you find out a storyline that you've been waiting to read. The first manga that I read this month was Beauty and the Beast of Paradise Lost. Now this was a very interesting story, and I never showed you guys this manga because I actually got it on my birthday, but I decided to finally read it this month, and I was pretty much blown away. So basically it revolves around the main character. Right on the front here, her name is Belle, and she has this mysterious violet hair, if you can see, and she's a very curious girl. She's warned about these forbidden woods near her town that a so-called beast lives in, and the tale is that he kidnaps beautiful girls and takes them away. But Belle, being Belle and all of her curiosity, decides, hey, I'm gonna go in the woods anyways and risk it all for a flower. So that decision leads to some unfortunate events, which I will not get into, but it basically spirals Belle into a pretty dark story for a large portion of this manga. And basically what Belle decides to do is, firstly, she has to overcome a lot of obstacles in her way, but she decides that she's going to go back into the Forbidden Woods to find some answers to some secrets that are being kept from her. Now, I'm not necessarily like super into fantasy theme, but this manga does it very well. There is a huge amount of story to cover in here, and on top of it, it covers a lot of great themes. It touches on beauty standards, self-confidence, betrayal, and judging a book by its cover. The reason I bought this was because of the cover, and the theme, what do you know, would be judging a book by its cover. So it's a really good read, highly entertaining, and I really resonated with the story because Belle's tenacity is just unrivaled in this manga. And even though she's constantly struggling with self-doubt, she has to navigate that through pretty much endless peril throughout this entire story. So it's very inspiring to see someone persevere through even the darkest of times to try and make it out to their end goal. And the story ends on a really good cliffhanger, and like I said, there is a lot to go over in this manga. As I was reading it, I was like, this could have been stretched out into like 3 mangas. There's a lot inside of it, which honestly made for a great read, and I'm super excited for the second volume. I don't think it's out yet, but I'm pretty sure it's coming soon. I'll throw the release date somewhere up here, but yeah, like I cannot wait for the second volume of this. This actually made me want to read more fantasy manga, and I would definitely 110% recommend this to anybody that is already into fantasy, supernatural mangas or stories in general. Okay, and the second manga that I read this month is One Piece. Now, I only read volume 1, and there's 3 volumes in here, so I kind of decided I was going to spread them out a little bit, but yeah, like, it's One Piece. What else is there to say? Okay, next manga. I'm just kidding, but honestly, all I'll really say about One Piece is Luffy is awesome. He's a great main character, and I honestly regret waiting so long to dive into the world of One Piece. I put off watching the anime for so long because I was so overwhelmed, but it's a highly entertaining read. It's funny, it's action-packed, and there's a reason why it's considered the best shonen of all time. Naruto and Dragon Ball fans, please do not attack me, but yeah, One Piece is great. If you haven't read it, if you're scared to read it, jump into it. I would recommend it. It's not overwhelming. I'm not like putting a lot of pressure on myself to read every single volume right away. I'm just reading it like when I want to read something lighthearted and just fun. Give it a shot if you haven't. If you already have, you know that it's good. So okay, so next up is probably one of my favorite reads that I have gone through so far, and that is Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. Now, a lot of you recommended that I pick this up from my first haul. I was looking at it, I didn't pick it up, and I regret not picking it up, so thank you to anybody who said to read this because it's definitely one of my favorites that I have gotten into so far. I immediately went back out and got the second volume. Now, if you haven't read this, it's kind of dark, but it's also funny at the same exact time. It's a nice little dark comedy story, and it basically follows Hanako, who's on the front cover right here. He lives in a stall in the girls' bathroom at an academy, and he is one of the school's 7 mysteries. Now, he can supposedly grant wishes, and a student that is attending the school named Yashiro finds out about this and goes to summon Hanako in order to grant one of her wishes. But what ends up ensuing is a very funny and entertaining journey with Hanako and Yashiro where they form a pretty awesome friendship in my opinion. The dynamic between the two is great. I really love the balance that both characters bring in this story, and I think the reason why I loved the first volume so much was because both of the protagonists played off of each other super well. The writing was great, the artwork is really nice as well, and honestly, Yashiro and Hanako both end up inadvertently helping each other in one way or another and making themselves both grow, even though that necessarily wasn't their initial goal. So quite honestly, everything in this story is super well done. It flows seamlessly. I honestly didn't even realize that I was finishing the story until I was like on the last page. I was like, oh no, I gotta go get the second one. It's a great entertaining read, so if you're looking for something that's a little bit darker but also funny, I definitely recommend Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. It has a lot of suspense, it left me wanting more. It's really everything that you can ask for within a story like this. Alright, so next up is another manga that is one of my favorites that I read. Honestly, there's 3 mangas that I have read this month, and they're probably all my favorite reads so far. I know I haven't read much, but they're definitely up there for me. Now, the second one that falls into that category is mieruko-chan. Now, if you haven't read this or seen this, it is so good. It's honestly amazing. I wasn't quite sure what to expect when I picked up this manga because I saw a lot of key visuals leading up to the anime release, and I planned on watching the anime, but I saw volume 1 last time we did our haul, and I was like, hey, I'm just gonna read it instead of watch it because I've been enjoying reading mangas a little bit more recently, and it honestly did not disappoint. Now, if you don't know what this story's about, it follows Miko, the main character on the cover right here, and she is just a typical high school girl when one day, all of a sudden, she just starts seeing monsters and ghosts everywhere she goes. They're right next to her. She goes to a store, they're in the store. She goes to the bedroom, they're in the bedroom. She goes out to eat with her friends, they're following her friends around, but nobody can see them except for Miko. Now, Miko's plan is just to ignore these ghosts, but like I said, everywhere that she goes, they are there. So it kind of is working, but also not. The fact that nobody else can see them makes this unique power, I guess you can call it. It's kind of an unfortunate power if it is a power, but it's unique to her and her only as far as I know. Miko is a great character, and I honestly think that this is a super unique take on the ghost / monster theme genre. I don't know what I would personally do in this situation, but I would definitely not handle it like Miko does. I would honestly probably have a panic attack and just pass out from fear. But Miko does a great job of carrying the story and moving it along at a nice pace. And honestly, it ends on like the craziest cliffhanger in my opinion, at least from what I've read so far. And it made me run back out. It's another theme, just like Hanako, and try and find volume 2. Unfortunately, like volume 2 is sold out pretty much everywhere of this. Like I could find Toilet Bound Hanako, but I could not find volume 2 of this. I ordered it online and it hasn't been refunded yet. I am praying that it comes in because I need to read the second volume. I mean, I'm assuming that everybody else had the same reaction to the ending of the first volume and just ran out at the same time and tried to find the second volume just like I did. Also, the afterword in this is very endearing and made me want to support it even more. And mieruko-chan is just a highly entertaining manga. It's super creepy, it has some light humor, and honestly is just one of the best reads that I've had so far. So yeah, if you haven't read this, if you haven't seen it, do one of them, definitely, because you will not be disappointed. So for the last manga that I read this month, I had a feeling that I was gonna love it, and it did not let me down. I absolutely loved this manga, and that is that is My Dress Up Darling. It was a great volume 1. I really enjoyed it. It basically follows the main character Gojo, not this Gojo, a different Gojo, but Gojo is plagued by a very traumatic childhood experience, which kind of leads him to live a secluded life. And he has this fascination that's not really like a normal, typical fascination for a high school boy. He loves Hina dolls, which are basically just these artisan dolls. And he wants to make that his career as he moves forward in the future. He loves making clothes for them, and he eventually wants to build them himself. But with that being said, he doesn't have really any friends because he has very different interests and because he kind of just doesn't feel like he fits in with anyone. Well, one day Gojo is cleaning up in class at the end of the day, and he comes in contact with Marin right on the cover right here, and they form an unlikely friendship due to her fascination with cosplay, something that she has an interest in but doesn't really resonate with anyone else. Now, she's one of the most popular girls in Gojo's class, but nobody really connects with her about her main interest either. So you can kind of see how they form this friendship, both of them liking something that they're not necessarily ashamed of but don't think that other people will enjoy, so they can't really connect with it. But one, with Gojo being really good at making clothing and Marin really liking cosplay and wanting to make clothing, they come together. And Marin is hilarious. She is a great character. She's always teasing Gojo about everything, and Gojo's pretty naive because he hasn't had many encounters since he doesn't really have a lot of friends or any friends at all really. He's very secluded and just kind of keeps to himself. And the relationship between the two, the dynamic between the two I should say, is just awesome. Like, it's one of my favorites. It's a really great comedy. It's lighthearted, it's entertaining, and honestly I really resonated with the main character Gojo just because he had a lot of different interests and felt kind of embarrassed and kind of secluded himself away because he couldn't really connect with anyone due to those interests. So I really like the story. I like how it's tying in together, and I'm really excited to read the second volume of this. And I'm pretty sure, I don't think the anime is out yet. I'm not sure, you guys can correct me on that, but I know that it's coming if it hasn't came out yet. So My Dress Up Darling is a very entertaining read. There's lots of laughs involved, a little bit of drama, some good comedy, some great relationship building, some good character dynamics between the two, and I'm just super excited to get into the next one. So yeah, that is all the manga that I read this month. Let me know if you guys have read any of these and what you thought about them, and also let me know what you've been reading yourself because I love to hear, and add those to my list to check out next time I go shopping. Now, our next haul will be a massive rightstuf haul, so be on the lookout for that. It'll be out in 2 weeks, and I honestly had some great pickups with that haul, and I also got a couple of other good pickups along the way as well, so I'm super excited to show you guys. But I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I also hope that you enjoy whatever manga that you're currently reading or plan on reading in the future. I will see you guys next time.